Alright, boys and girls, so we're going to do a small video here on taking a 009 distributor. This is a centrifugal advanced distributor made by Bosch for Volkswagens and Porsches, and we're going to modify it for not necessarily timing lockout, but timing, what's the better word would be, limiting advance would be the better word. So basically you usually have around 10 degrees at idle with this distributor, and it will usually advance to about 30 total, meaning that the distributor has about 20 degrees of advance built into it. That is accomplished by a weight and a spring in there. So what we're going to do is, since our turbo car does not want 30 degrees of timing because it will be a draw-through setup. A blow-through is different. They seem to like a little more timing under vacuum, and then when you transfer the boost, you need to definitely move the timing back. So that's a different setup than this. I've found that like a BTM box works best with a blow-through carbureted setup on a Volkswagen. For a draw-through setup where the carburetor is in front of the turbo, you can limit the advance, not lock out, but limit the advance on the distributor, and it seems to be pretty happy and drives around pretty good. Now, it would probably get a little better gas mileage and be a little snappier under vacuum if you had like a BTM, but those things are $425. So, what we're going to do is we're going to take this apart, and underneath the plate for the points and condenser is the weight mechanisms and springs, and we're going to show you what we have to do to modify that, and it's a very simple process. So first we're going to take the cap off, and take our wire for our condenser off, take our condenser out. Somebody's already played with the bolt on this for some reason. Just flathead screwdriver, take that off. There we go. Take the wire off there. Condenser is out. Now we're going to take our points out. And this is all stuff that can be done with simple hand tools. And it may be a trial and error for you depending on your setup and how precise you want to get with this. I've had them where they weren't exactly where I wanted, and I just ran a little more timing at idle to get me where I need to be. You could go back and redo this to make it where you want it. So let's see here. Oh my goodness, that's a long screw. Somebody's played in here. Points are out. Okay, so now, as you can see if our little light will work. There's a plate in the bottom there, and it's held on with the screws that hold on the clips to the cap. See how it goes up and goes over there? So we have to take the screws with the clips out, and that will release that plate. So we'll do that now. So now the bolts are out. This plate should move, but it may be a little stuck in there. So we'll see how we can get this up and out of here. There we go, it's coming. There we go. That's the breaker points plate. Move that and put it over to the side. Alright. Let's see if we can show you what's going on in here. So, if you look in there, you can see a spring right there in the center next to the shaft, right up there, and then these arms, and you'll see some stops. There's one there, and there's one down the bottom here. Alright, and I'll see if I can actuate this. My fingers are not, and get you a look in there. I don't know. So when the motor revs up, the RPM will make those come out. Do you see how that moves? Alright, and it hits these little stops. and that limits your advance. So what you do to get this to have more or less advance, if you wanted more, you bend the tabs farther out. If you want less advance, you bend the tabs in. And this is not perfect. You see how it hits the tab there? Alright, so if we bend that in half the distance it is, basically that will limit your advance half by half, basically. Like I say, this will be a trial and error thing, because you may bend it more than half, you may bend it less than half. But typically half gets you in the ballpark where you need to be. So, we're going to take a pair of pliers and bend them. Cheap light. Hopefully I don't knock the camera down doing this. Alright. And there we go. And you see that? You can't see that. Let's move the light over here. That's the one that was the tall side. Probably needs to be a bit more on that, but this side is definitely half. So I need to bend that a little more, I think. Alright. That looks about it, so that should do it. So, now all I gotta do, get a better light, and reassemble it. Just slide this back in there. I want to clean that up. Put the two bolts in that holds it in, and put my points and condenser back in, and boom, basically a turbo distributor. Like I say, cheap and easy to do if you have a 009 distributor. Vacuum advanced distributor is a whole nother ball game. And if you're doing a blow-through setup, I would just invest the money in like a BTM or a CB black box. CB black box being the cheaper option. If you're to lock the advance, you would just move these all the way so that nothing moves in there. That's what locking the advance would be. And that would be really hard to drive with, because you're going to be starting the car with whatever advance you set the car for. So if you were going to have 20 degrees of timing when you go to start it up, it's going to be 20 degrees advanced. So that may make a car hard to start, and all that different things like that. Drivability may not be the best. Usually you find that on like a drag car, or if you're locking the advance out in the distributor to run some sort of aftermarket ECU based style ignition, like a CB black box would be an example there, where basically it's a full computer controlled ignition and using just the distributor to actually rotate and fire. Crank fire ignition would be kind of the same deal. But anyways guys, that's what we're doing here, and I'm going to clean this all up. So if that helped you at all, please like and subscribe, and don't forget to get out there and get your cars worked on. Let's get these old cars going, boys and girls, and I'll see you guys later.